This week on FRC Media News, Fall River has a city budget for FY 2024 after the City Council approves Mayor Coogan's spending plan. Fall River opens its first set of public pickleball courts, and city residents will be able to share their personal memories at the Mass Memories Roadshow. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, June 8th, 2023. This is FRC Media News. I'm Keith Tebow. The Fall River City Council this week voted 5-3 to pass Mayor Paul Coogan's FY 2024 city budget. Over the past week, the council spent 2 evenings questioning department heads and the city administration on specifics within the $400 million plus budget. In the end, councilors Brad Kilby, Leo Pelletier, Linda Pereira, Laura Washington and President Joseph Camara voted to pass the spending plan. Councilors Sean Kadim, Michelle Dion and Andrew Raposo voted no. Councilor Pam LaLiberty was not at this week's meeting. Mayor Coogan praised his financial team for putting together a responsible and balanced budget, with the council making no changes.
None of the councilors offered any reductions across the board. What we did this year, which was a little different, instead of just sending everybody down in mass, we asked them who they specifically wanted to see. I mean, we would have loved it if they had given us the areas of concern that they were worried about in the budget, but they didn't. And everybody they wanted, we made available to go down and present to the city council. They did it over a couple of sessions, which I'm hearing is extremely fast for the city of Fall River, and then they voted to refer it to full council, and they had a vote last night, and we were fortunate enough to wrap it up. I signed it this morning, and we're on to the next plan.
The budget uses one-time funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, and free cash from years past that will be spent on capital expenditures and reducing the taxpayers' debt on paying for the new Durfee High School. The mayor realizes that once that money runs dry, the city will need to be creative in raising revenue. Beginning next year, the city may seek full taxpayer support to cover the costs of Durfee, as well as the construction of a new Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School.
We put some ARPA money in the budget this year because we believe it's probably one of the last years we can do that, knowing full well we have to use the money up or assign the money by the end of 24. So we put a little bit of ARPA money in the budget. Obviously, we're still knocking off a bunch of capital projects, streets and sidewalks with ARPA money. But as you said, that money's coming to an end, and the city is going to have to be self-reliant again to that end. I mean, there's a lot of construction. We're hoping new growth spikes back up a little bit next year, but there's always work to do. But we got through this budget, and we're on to the next adventure, like I said.
Prior to the vote this week, Councilor Dion expressed her concern about the use of one-time funds without a plan moving forward.
$4.5 million of ARPA funding, $800,000 in free cash has been infused into this budget. 2.7, I believe, represents the 3% impact fee from the cannabis. The amount of ARPA funding in free cash is less, I believe, than what Diamond is going to be. And I think it's going to be a struggle. I think we still have created a structural deficit going into the next budget season.
City Director of Financial Services Bridget Allman told the council using one-time funds now will lessen the need for the city to borrow to pay for capital expenses.
I would love to have more money, but I mean, right now, we will have to do some capital. We will have to borrow at some point in the next few years. But right now, I think we should be, utilizing the ARPA money is the best way for us to, slow the especially with interest rates going up. And then as we, start to build more budgets and see what our needs are, we'll have to make decisions.
During this week's hearing, part of the discussion centered around the rising costs of trash pickup and disposal. Councilor Dion said the council has asked the administration to clamp down on the pickup of business trash that is not included in its private hauler contract.
In 2020, started talking about and asking for the business trash to be removed. We know that in the easy disposal contract, there were 78 businesses that they had recycle carts, not trash carts, recycle carts. Pink carts, they purchased part of a program because at the time you made money with recyclables. When the easy disposal contract was negotiated, those 78 businesses were going to be allowed to have their recyclables picked up. Then that morphed into trash and recycle. Now we have over 200, approximately 266 businesses that are getting trash and recycle picked up. Multiple carts. That they weren't even involved in the easy contract, which represents a significant amount of money.
Councilor Dion also questioned the administration's commitment to following its trash contract when it comes to supplying recycling carts to 6-family homes.
The city allows 2 95-gallon recycle carts per every 6-family. At least that's what it says in your paperwork. I didn't make it up. We have 69, I think they deserve more. I don't think that's adequate for a 6-family. We have 69 6-families out of hundreds that have 3. We have 19 that have 4, 2 that have 5, 2 that have 6, 1 that has 7, and 40 that only have 1. Where's the equity? When are we going to follow our own policies? When are we? And that represents 126 carts that are being picked up at how much is it for a ton for recycle now?
$110.
$110. 126 carts at $110 per ton that are being picked up every week.
Yeah.
Add that to the over 200 of the business carts. Now we're looking at close to 400 carts.
In response, City Administrator Seth Aiken said the city is looking to renegotiate its trash pickup and disposal contracts with Easy Disposal and Republic Services.
If anybody who follows solid waste, especially in Massachusetts, knows it's getting harder and harder and more expensive to dispose. There's fewer and fewer places for it to go. Municipalities and towns are sending it farther and farther away. And so prior to the Easy contract expiring, we wanted to see if we could renegotiate some of the terms of that contract to deal with commercial, which I would agree is nowhere close to what it was intended to be when the contract was first executed. And at the same time, see if we can find some creative ways to cap some of those costs, to manage some of those costs. Because everywhere you look, the only way those prices are going is up. Everyone sort of agrees on that, and so we're trying to figure out a way how can we lock something in that's more favorable to the city, that helps us manage our solid waste. Solid waste is it's the issue of our generation, really. Mm-hmm. If we don't find a way to manage it, we're in serious trouble, and that's what we're trying to do with Easy and Republic.
Mr. Aiken is hopeful the renegotiations will rectify the issue of business trash pickup.
What Easy is doing with regard to business trash is significantly more than they ever agreed to do at the start. That said, there remains, at least legally, some level of obligation for Easy to pick up some version of business trash. It's not what they're doing now, but it is some version of business trash. If the idea is that part of the negotiation is to release them from picking up any business trash and say, okay, we are going to support you and you are going to acknowledge no more business trash being picked up, that creates an opportunity for us to negotiate some other side of the contract. Now, I'm sort of exposing the position here, but that's part of it. They say, okay, we're going to take no action to enforce any part of the contract that speaks to business trash, and you are going to not pick up business trash.
The city budget approved this week will take effect on July 1st. There are less than 3 weeks left for city residents interested in running for office to obtain nomination papers. Here's an update now on the ones who have done so thus far in the race for mayor, city council, and school committee. In the race for mayor, incumbent Paul Coogan and former mayor Sam Sutter have secured papers. 2021 candidate Michael Vandal has returned his papers and has qualified for the ballot. Also taking out papers are Jordan James Sylvia and Gabriel Amaral. For City Council, 7 incumbents have taken out papers: Linda Pereira, Brad Kilby, Andrew Raposo, Michelle Dion, Joe Camara, Laura Washington, and Pam LaLiberty. Incumbent Sean Kadim has yet to take out papers, while Leo Pelletier will not seek re-election. Also seeking signatures are current school committee member and former councilor Paul Hart, former councilor and state representative David Sullivan, Bob Pearson, Jordan James Sylvia, and Gabriel Amaral, who must decide if they will run for mayor or council. Also expressing interest are Gloria Sadler, Joseph Salvador, Ricky Tith, Matthew Springer, Paulo Amaral, who has qualified for the ballot, Joshua Tixera, and Alexander Silva. The 5 remaining incumbents have taken out papers for school committee: Shelley Pereira, Sarah Rodrigues, Bobby Bailey, Mimi Larrabee, and Kevin Aguiar. Potential challengers include Colin Dias, Charles Chase, who will be on the ballot, Warren Alves, Rena Brown, and former school committee member Tom Corey. The deadline to obtain nomination papers is June 26th, with their return due on June 28th. BMC Durfee High School celebrated the class of 2023 last Friday at its graduation ceremony held on Mac Aldrich Field. Over 500 seniors crossed the stage to receive their diplomas. Many will enter the workforce, some will enroll in the military, while others still will begin their college careers. Student Body President Samantha Aguiar told her classmates that graduation is a time of reflection as well as one of hope.
In these past 13 years, we learned everything from how to sing the alphabet to understanding the purpose of the letters in our math equations. We've always seemed like today was so far away. But then suddenly 5th grade became 8th grade, and 8th grade became seniors in high school. Throughout that time, we didn't even recognize that we were growing up. We didn't realize about all the jokes that "we can't wait for graduation" would truly appear so quickly. We didn't realize that all of a sudden, our friends would move halfway across the U.S. for school or to serve our country. And most of all, we didn't realize that our last days of high school would end so abruptly. We have made countless memories that will last a lifetime. We stayed up late with our best friends, cheered on our sports teams, and got ready for school events. When we look back at this, we'll remember this as the good old days. As we leave here today, remember that although we've grown as human beings, this is not where our journey ends. Remember that throughout all of our hardships, there will always be success. And remember that if you've come this far, you can go 10 times further.
Class valedictorian Brady Lavoie used his speech to extol the virtues of Fall River, saying the city was the best teacher he ever had.
Durfee just turns out these amazingly talented people and sets them up for incredible amounts of success in all these different realms and connects them all together. A good chunk of my friends don't speak English as their first language. They speak Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creole. One of my teammates just came from Brazil a few months ago, and here he is on the varsity lineup for volleyball as our main passer. Just fit right in. The opportunities offered at Durfee are rivaled by none, and the variety of people I've met and different lives I've witnessed have all shaped a perspective which I will carry and rely on for my entire life. I really don't know where I'll go in the future, with so many of our aspirations leading us in so many different directions. But if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that my future children absolutely must share the same schooling I had the honor of receiving, as the Fall River Public Schools shaped us all in a way you'd expect to see only in fiction. The capacity for empathy and relentless ambition it has placed within myself and so many others is one everyone deserves, and frankly, one which everyone requires. So thank you to the city of Fall River, my city. Thank you to everyone. I can promise you all that I will never forget where I came from, and I hope that all of you can promise the same.
The sport of pickleball is all the rage, and Fall River has its own dedicated courts now open at Lower Kennedy Park. A $400,000 allocation from the city's Community Development Agency was made available for the creation of 4 dedicated courts, with the option of setting up 4 additional temporary courts where tennis courts are currently located. The project was guided by James Crossan, a local organizer of pickleball clinics and leagues. He says the growth of the sport has extended across the country, including here on the South Coast.
The popularity of pickleball has taken off, I'd say, in the past 4 years since COVID started. Since there was a lack of things to do during COVID, everybody was looking for something to do, and pickleball became very popular in the area during that time because you could play outside, you were socially distanced, and it made it easy for everybody to get together without having to worry about it. Since then, I've seen it skyrocket in each of the areas I've played in. There's more and more players every day, and especially when the summertime hits is when a massive crowd of new players will come in here. And the more courts we have, the more time we have to teach these new players who are coming into the game. You have 6,000 people that play regularly, and that's not even including the new people that come into the sport. So you'll probably see about maybe 2,000 new people just this summer playing again.
Mr. Crossan says the sport welcomes players of all abilities with opportunities to play in a structured or non-structured environment.
For the most part, when any regular person wants to play, go outside, they'll play here, they'll play in Bristol, they'll play in Fairhaven, Little Compton. All these areas have courts available. Those are for the regular players, the ones that play every day, the ones that want to be outside. For the more intense players that want to play throughout the winter, we'll still play outside, but we have indoor locations where we play also. And all people have to do is go online, sign in, and show up. So it's pretty much as easy as that. We can get all these people together, and everybody mixes matches. So everybody's playing with a different person every time. If somebody wants to have a competitive match, they'll do a competitive match. So there's all kinds of ways to do it, but everybody is always welcome to play. There's some the beginner level to intermediate, and then the last level will be competitive, where it goes a little bit faster than what you normally see.
The city will be opening up additional pickleball courts soon at Britland Park. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Vision System Machine Technician. Blount Fine Foods, located at 63 Current Road, is looking for a full-time Vision System Machine Technician, responsible for the continuous and trouble-free running of the Vision System machines, incorporated within the Cup Pack-Out Processing Department. Job number 191-59968. Mental health worker. Steward Healthcare System, located at 1030 President Avenue, is seeking a part-time mental health worker to provide basic care, therapy, and assistance to patients with mental illness or developmental disabilities. Job number 191-58325. Leasing consultant. First Realty Management, located at 200 Bay Street, is looking for a part-time leasing consultant to assist the property manager with showing units, processing applications, and assisting with resident services and retention. Job number 191-58240. Retail Sales Associate. Harbor Freight Tools, located at 35 Mariano Bishop Boulevard, is looking for a part-time retail sales associate. For more information, call 508-674-4136. Family Service Association, located at 101 Rock Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Community Support Specialist, job number 191-57375. Dietary Aid, job number 191-57376. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Later this summer, residents in Fall River will be asked to share their personal memories as part of a statewide history project organized by the Joseph P. Healy Library at UMass Boston. The event will be hosted locally by the Creative Arts Network, the Fall River Waterfront Cultural District, and Fall River Heritage State Park.
Work with groups of people, partner teams with them to put together the Mass Memories Roadshow. And basically, it's a community, statewide event, but the community, it's a participatory archival event. People from Fall River will come one particular day. For us, it's September 16th from 10 until 3. And they'll come with photographs. They'll come with artifacts, family artifacts. They'll come with their stories, and the pictures will be archived. They'll come down and actually take a picture of the picture. Then they'll digitize it, and it'll be archived. Then there'll be video to tell their story. So it gives Fall River an opportunity to have our place in Massachusetts history. We welcome as many people that want to come from 10 until 3 that day. Each person is only allowed to bring 3 pieces with them though. They can't bring like more than 3 photographs or 1 photograph, some artifacts, and maybe a story to be videoed. So everyone can bring 3 pieces of history.
Ms. Dennis says she expects Fall River to share experiences which will be unique to the project.
Historically, we've been so diverse. People think that Fall River is diverse now, but if you walk through DCR and you walk through Heritage State Park here, you'll see how diverse we were even back in the 1800s with Frederick Douglass and the Underground Railroad, with the Irish immigrants that came, the Jewish immigrants that came, the French-Canadian immigrants. So we've always been a diverse community. I just don't think people realize how diverse we've been all through our years, not just now. There's a different diversity in the city now, unlike what it was in the past. So it's always changing and evolving, and it's our chance to tell those old stories, but now to tell our new stories. And we're hoping that a lot of the younger generation will come, even though they don't think they have a story to tell, they do. Whether it's a small story, a short story, a sad story, a happy story, it's their story, and we want to hear it. We want to digitize it, archive it for everybody to learn about.
Representatives from UMass Boston will be on site next Tuesday, June 13th at 6 p.m. at Heritage State Park to provide background and a preview of what the city can expect from the roadshow in September. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Muse. Muse is a gray and white tabby. He's approximately 2 years old and 1 month. For kids, I'd say a little bit older with him, probably 8 or 9, because he can be a little temperamental at times. He's a little shy when he first meets you, but he does come around rather nicely. Like I said, he can be a little bit temperamental. That's why I'm recommending a little bit older kids for him. Other than that, I'd say probably no dogs for him because he is a little nervous sometimes. But other than that, I would say he'd do fine in any home. He has come around a lot. He's a lot friendlier now. He likes people. He does like to be pet. Not so much being picked up and handled that way, but he does like the pets. So if you'd like to meet Muse, I'm sure he'd love to meet you. Come on down to 300 Linwood Street, Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
Today we have Boogie. Boogie here, he's a 2-year-old Chihuahua mix. Whatever he's mixed with, we did discover he's got a nice winter coat that he's been shedding. He's actually got a double coat on here, which is not something you see often with these little guys. But whoever he's mixed with something weird. Boogie right here, he absolutely loves people. You can tell he has no problem, being held. If you want a little dog that, you're living up on the 3rd floor of an apartment, you need to bring up and down, he will make that very easy for you. He is definitely attention seeking to people. He will come up and want your attention. I think that he would do best in a home, average amounts of energy. I don't think he has so much that he needs a higher energy home. In fact, it may be possible that might be a little bit too much for him. If you'd like to meet Boogie, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.